Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Logan Lewis
and Jesse Cadron.
This is the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, episode 122. Crazy we've made it this far. I am your host, Logan Lewis, joined by my co-host, Jesse Cadron, from the north, once again, in his lodging there, up on the island at Lac Lamart Lodge in the Northwest Territories. How's it going?
It's going good, Logan. Yeah, we're on a 6-day break from our guests right now. So there's no guests at the lodge currently, just a couple of guides and one person in the kitchen. So things are low key, things are quiet. We're getting out to do some fishing, doing some work on our docks, and just a little maintenance around camp. Yeah, it's been fun. Weather has been really good, so we were fishing more these first couple days, and now there's some bad weather coming, so then it's time to get to work. So
wind, rain, what's going on?
Bit of both. I think we got like 50-kilometer gusts coming Thursday, Friday. So today's Wednesday the 22nd. Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday look pretty bad. So
that's too bad. Nothing wrong with some island time though, hey?
Yeah, no, it's really nice. We can send the guides that are like here for a full season, send them home, give them a little reset, send the kitchen home, give them time to. Everybody needs a reset. Everyone needs some time away off the island, because after about 40 days of it, even though you're in paradise and having a good time, it does affect people. Some less than others or more than others, but give our employees or our guides a break, kitchen staff a break, and give the fish a break too, eh?
Yeah. The fish need a break from all the tourists, all the clients coming to see them, right?
Yeah. The lake trout are stacking up, man. It's I stopped out in Promised Lands area there for like 20 minutes the other night and seen a big one on live scope. I was like, okay, I'll try to catch that one. It looked bigger than the rest of the fish. Like you always got to get one in the boat to get a scale or a judge, and it was a 36 or a 37, and I was like, okay, sweet. Put that fish back and scan around for another 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, that one's bigger than the last one. Cast, ate, missed it, pounded it in the mud, ate again, got it up, landed it, and it was a 40.5, and
nice.
Super fat. I think it was 25 pounds.
Is that the one you posted?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you tossing? Like when I was up there, we weren't live scoping them. Like what are you tossing to them when you're sharpshooting them, basically?
I'm still chucking bondies at them.
Okay.
Yeah, whether it's the juniors or wobblers or the originals. But honestly, my best luck has been the Bondi original Burbot color. Burbot Bondi original.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like a dark brown with some gold flake. And most days it's my number one, I'd say, for sure.
Have you tried tossing anything on a spinning setup to them?
I haven't, no. I know Scoops does. He made a couple of videos last year on spinning gear.
Yeah, that'd be a ride.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I know they hit the paddle tails too, like some Crush City stuff. Yeah.
No, for sure. Well, that's all good. Like I said, this is episode 122. Sat down with Craig McDougall from Angler's Edge Mapping, one of the sponsors of the show, going over everything that they've got new this year. Some crazy stats too that he had as far as the number of kilometers driven while surveying on some of these lakes, and then just in general. And then we also quite a bit of screen sharing, whether it was going over the coverage list, looking at some snippets of maps, and then also talking about the intricacy of some of these maps too. Was pretty sweet when we could pull them up on the screen here. So if you're watching the video version, you're going to get a treat there while we look over some of those. But yeah, big thanks to Craig for coming on. It was definitely a fun one. Saskatchewan's getting a ton of new lakes that were added this year, and things are looking to continue that way. So pretty exciting times for us here in Saskatchewan. But before we get into the interview portion here, Got to talk about the sponsors. Behind my shoulder here, 13 Fishing Canada being the presenting sponsor of the show. Tons of awesome announcements coming through with iCast going on. Lots of some baits, some rods, reels, all that good stuff. A new jigging wrap. Excited to see that. Barrel swivel coming out, going down to that treble hook. That's going to be huge. I'm going to have to pick up a couple of those because why not, right? Why not add them to the repertoire? But yeah, lots of great stuff coming down the line. I don't know if any of it's available yet on the website, but that should be coming soon. You can use the code Weekend Warriors, WKND Warriors. Save yourself 15% off at checkout of the entire website, all the brands under the Rapala Canada umbrella. Next up, Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. Huge thanks to them, as always, for sponsoring the show. Head over to the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation website. Get your membership today. Magazine, access to land, chance at some awards if you're getting some good animals there in hunting season. That's coming up before we know it here. Some insurance and just a great community to be a part of. Some of the maps that we talk about here in the Angler's Edge episode are stocked by the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation as well. And I know that's something Jesse and myself love, that we have some of those stock trout lakes to target. So big thanks to them for everything they do, and be sure to be entering your Master Angler fish on the Saskatchewan Master Angler program as well. I know I've got to enter a couple there recently, and just something exciting, something fun to do, and adds another level to the fishing you do when you do get a nice one. So anything to add there, Jesse?
I got caught looking at the Rapala drops. You were talking about iCast, so I just went on Instagram quick and was looking. Yeah, I did.
No, that's fair. I just know with the hunting and whatnot, I always like to check with them. But
no, the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation, they do a ton of great stuff for the province. So if you're members, if you're a citizen of Saskatchewan, get signed up, get the book, get the magazine. It's all good stuff. Yeah, access to land.
For sure. And we were just talking about it, but Lac Lamart Adventures, big thanks to the Lodge for coming on as a sponsor this year. Head over to the Lac Lamart website, inquire about some dates, get to see Jesse there, all the other guides. If you haven't yet listened to the guide roundtable that we had last episode, kind of get familiar with some of the guides that you'll probably be seeing up there when you do book a trip. Like Jesse said, on a bit of a break from clients right now, some stuff getting done around the Lodge. Guys resting up, getting ready for the next set of clients to come in. Amazing fishery. We told Craig, I think after the recording, we told Craig about some of the numbers from the first couple of weeks there, but maybe just to reiterate how good the fishing is. Do you have those numbers again off the top of your head? Or rough numbers of 40-inch pike, 40-inch fish?
For sure, yeah. Mind you, this is prime weeks, like week 1, 2, and 3. But I think every week was over 220 fish, over 40 inches for the first 3 weeks. And then
between 9 boats.
Even 8 boats week 1. I think it was 287, which is just ridiculous. And then weeks 3 to 6, I believe we stayed over 100, maybe even over 120 possibly. So, yeah. but like under 200, so in that 100, 200 range. And of course, we're getting more and more lake trout now. I think the last week we had with guests, I think we landed 20 or 25 lake trout over 40 inches, which is getting better. Just getting
for sure,
getting pretty good.
Well, that's awesome. So you can head over to www.nwtfishing.com, check out everything on the website, see what the lodge is all about, inquire about some dates, and book your trip of a lifetime up there to target some massive northern pike and big old chunky lake trout.
We might even have a new dock by the time they get here.
Yeah, if Jesse just does his job here in the next coming couple days, there will be a new dock as well. Always nice to have a good dock.
My job's already done. I towed it here from Wat-D. That's enough.
Jesse put in 6 hours towing the floating dock from Wat-D there, so that's quite the trip. Usually it's about an hour long drive going about 30 kilometers an hour. So that was definitely a shift.
I was averaging 5.3 miles an hour. and it was super smoky, so like I had to use GPS to keep her straight because like there was no visual references within, unless you got like within 2 miles of a shoreline, or maybe a mile and a half at some point. And it was, yeah,
it was tough.
It was a mental challenge for sure.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
that's
a big road trip.
yeah, no, for sure. That makes it a little more fun, a little more adventure to it. But yeah, big thanks to the Lodge for sponsoring this year. Lastly, we've got a whole episode about it here, Angler's Edge Mapping. Big thanks to them for coming on and sponsoring the show this year as well. We talk about it a ton, but head over to the Angler's Edge website, check out their coverage list, see what kind of chip you want, whether it's Saskatchewan, Manitoba, different Manitoba ones. Lots of great stuff to offer up there. The print maps for those that are watching. I got the print map behind me here of Clearwater Lake in Manitoba. Really great addition to like I was always thinking cabins for anyone that's on the lake, but Craig talks about lots of people have them in their office and stuff like that too. So lots of great stuff up on the website, and a big thanks to Craig and the people over at Angler's Edge Mapping for sponsoring this year. I don't really know if we have much else to say before we hop into this one. It's about an hour talking about all the fun stuff going on over at Angler's Edge Mapping. So I think we'll just hop into that right now, and we'll see you in the outro. Sweet. Well, we're sitting down here with Craig McDougall from Angler's Edge Mapping. This is our third stint, I believe. Is that correct?
I think so.
Yeah, third annual episode we've got going here. This is the first one that Jesse's been able to make. I know he was wanting to sit down with this one, and we were just talking here before we hit record, and Jesse's got not really days off, but no clients at the camp here for a little bit, so it worked out well to record this episode today. But how have things been with you, Craig?
Yeah, things are good. Things are busy but good. We've been chipping away at lakes in Saskatchewan as well as northern Manitoba, northwest Ontario, even a few in British Columbia. Really fleshing out our catalog over the past couple of years. Probably Saskatchewan, I would say, has the most significant growth of all the areas that we are currently surveying in. Lots of new lakes added this year, and yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, no, we like to see that. Me and Jesse being Sask boys, Jesse using it a lot for ice fishing, and me using it all over the place. It's big. I'd say a bigger game changer than LiveScope. I think, like, not having maps ever before, unless you auto charted something or whatever program you use. Being able to have those maps, especially for ice fishing, and especially on a lake you've never been to, you can decide where you want to go before you even leave. So
it essentially gives you the power of like a local fisherman, someone who's been fishing that lake for 20-25 years and knows the spots. Like, gives you that at the click of a button. It's very just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think I've told you this, Craig, but for example, Jesse, how many times have you been to Last Mountain before this winter? Twice?
Before this winter, like twice, yeah.
Yeah. And Jesse's favorite species by far is walleye.
100%.
And so he, not actually, but so he had to come to Last Mountain, and he spent quite a few days there during our March Madness tournament as well. But strictly just using the maps, like I don't even think you really talked to too many people before, and you just kind of used the maps. And what did you catch for fish?
Well, I got my personal best, 31 inch, and then like that 3-day stint we did, we ended up with 11 master angler walleye in 3 days.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good ice fishing numbers.
Yeah, and that was heavily attributed to the maps, like when we were talking waypoints and stuff. Yeah, like this was where we were sitting was kind of, I'd say, a spot on the spot. Mm-hmm. Like, you wouldn't have known it was there without the maps, unless of course you'd mapped it yourself. Like, and it was literally to the T, like driving up right onto exactly that, because it was such a small spot, but it seemed to be holding the fish. I think it was kind of somewhat of a rock pile and a bit of a drop, but yeah, it was kind of nothing else really around it. Like, no one for almost kilometers around there for a bit.
There's not a lot of neighbors up there.
No. Well, up there. Whoa, spot burning.
Down there, up there.
Too much info.
Over there. there's not a lot of neighbors over there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And I guess, have you found with, we kind of talked about some of the Saskatchewan lakes before. I mean, the Saskatchewan list is growing, and I have the list here. I'll eventually pull it up for the people that are watching. But yeah, like you said, the Saskatchewan map pool has been growing like crazy. And kind of, what do you think the biggest difference is between your time looking over the Manitoba lakes to the Saskatchewan lakes, or are they quite similar?
In terms of like how long it takes to survey a lake, you mean? Or
That and kind of I guess the makeup of the lakes as well. Like I know we have like our northern area and then more of our prairie lakes, and that would be somewhat similar to Manitoba as well, right? But I just don't know if there's have you noticed any differences really between the two?
yeah, you've got similar sort of structure as you laid out there in the Prairie Lakes to what Manitoba has in the Prairie Lakes. And similar again in northern Manitoba to northern Saskatchewan in terms of the shield. I guess the major difference I would say is like the Saskatchewan River reservoirs. So like Diefenbaker and Tobin. I don't know if you guys have perused through the Tobin Lake maps yet, but like there is so many old river channels and like intricate structure between Twin Marine and the Tobin Lake Resort area where we've released so far. Like it's crazy. Like I would never have guessed that. And I've been on that water before. Like I was there in 2013 and 2014 and fished it pretty hard and did well. But like with the technology now, like that we're using to survey, like it just the details pop out. And yeah, there's so many little subtleties, channels and whatnot on the edges of main flow, and you know that walleye would hide in. And now I really understand why there's so much how do I put this, like subtlety to how these people tournament fish on Tobin, right? Like the spots there's crazy. It's crazy how many spots there are on what would seemingly be like a flat, right? There's actually subtle depressions 1 or 2 feet deep, you know, that stretch for hundreds of meters, and like they're fish channels. The fish, I'm sure that they're following those contours essentially and hiding out there, probably like hunkered down a little bit out of the flow, waiting to ambush prey. Yeah, anyway, it's really cool. And we don't have that in Manitoba, like that scale of river with that sort of, you know, old river habitat essentially on that scale.
Okay. That's interesting. I wonder what, like, do you think lots of that was from before things were dammed up, or do you think things are ever changing there as well? Kind of like some of the other rivers that I know you guys do updated maps in Manitoba for some of the rivers. Is it like that, or you think this is just all pre-dam?
There definitely is change contemporarily, yes, but a lot of what we're seeing, like, you know, once you get a certain distance out from the mouth of the river, like where it really starts to slow down, you're not going to be getting active deposition like of sand and whatnot. There's a zone where there is sort of, we call it the reservoir transition zone, where you're going to have like some years it's going to get scoured away by high flows, and then the next year low flows, it's going to start depositing sand and sediment, and things are going to kind of fill in. But once you get out from that into like essentially, which is lake-like habitat, you're not having that sort of level of change. And so therefore, you know, what you see in terms of like cuts and channels, that is old. That is, you know, pre-dam, probably hundreds, thousands of years type scouring that happened when the river just took a slightly different path. So it's pretty cool. Like I've never seen that before on any of the lakes that we've surveyed.
Well, it's pretty sweet that it's still deep enough there that lots of those haven't been filled in, I guess, too, with sediment, as that'd be an issue in lots of the smaller reservoirs, like say a Buffalo Pound. I know, looking at the map on my phone, like there would have been an old river channel at some point, but that's not really evident throughout the rest of the lake, basically after the causeway kind of thing, right? So is it being deeper, or do you think these channels were just that much bigger before that it would take a lot longer to fill these in?
Yeah, I guess the size of the Tobin Lake Reservoir is a factor there. But it just, I don't totally understand why there would be such a difference between, say, Tobin and Buffalo Pound. I guess the volume of the Saskatchewan River, the flow volume is just so much larger than what would flow through Buffalo Pound. So the scours would be deeper theoretically, but yeah, I was actually quite surprised to not find at least a single river channel in Buffalo Pound, but there really isn't any evidence of it. Whereas in Tobin, there's the primary river channel, which is still where most of the flow is going, but then there's also these channels that are at different orientations. Like you could tell that the meanders used to be very, very different at different points in time.
Yeah.
Well, and especially I'm just looking at sorry, Jesse, I'm just looking at Diefenbaker right now, and I mean the whole area from it's quite evident the old river channels all throughout the deep areas of Diefenbaker. It's actually insane how much those intertwine with each other, and that kind of definition is available at 150 feet deep. It's still noticeable is insane.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Do you have something there, Jesse?
I was gonna say maybe the not the sediments, but the rock structure underneath maybe would dictate the sloughing in a little bit, or I guess the amount of flow. But I never thought of that, Logan, about how come there's no river channel in Buffalo Pound that you can see on that map. That is super odd. It must have just got sloughed in from the surrounding sediments or something over a couple hundred years.
And I think we're talking obviously different sized original rivers, right? If you go west of Buffalo Pound and you look at what comes into the lake, it's maybe 10, 15 feet across, maybe a bit more. In the areas I've seen, right? It's not like it's that big of an area. So yeah, it wouldn't take much for it to slough in and fill in, because then it's also only a couple feet deep as well. But Buffalo Pound's only a couple feet deep. So it's hard to say. But yeah, no, that's all that stuff's pretty cool. And you can just sit there for hours really. And especially if you're looking at a Diefenbaker, you could come up with spot after spot after spot. I get out to Diefenbaker a couple times a year in the winter, and before I went out on one of my last trips there for just before the March Madness tournament, I just kind of went and kind of waypointed 5, 6, 7 spots that I wanted to check out, and eventually you come across one that does hold fish, even though they all looked similar. Only one or two of them maybe held fish, but being able to do that, kind of bringing it all full circle, being able to do that from your house is pretty crazy. And someone who's maybe, I don't know, down in the States or whatever, and they've had maps for ages, they might think what's this isn't really anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, but for us up here, this is somewhat newer, right? So I don't know if you hear that a lot from customers, Craig.
Yeah, it at first it's always a little bit people don't really see the value in maps just because they've never really had decent maps. Mm-hmm. This happened in Manitoba. Initially, it was kind of our sales are not actually very good initially. And then people sort of collectively, their sort of experience just kind of accumulates, and they realize okay, now, I see how this could help. I've kind of done it a little bit myself. For example, I've mapped a spot with, Genesis Live or AutoChart or whatever. But then they realize how much time it took to do that, and they're like, okay, now I want to, I get it, but now I want a whole lake, which is not, it's just not realistic for most people to have that time or want to invest the money to do it. So then, like, it wasn't really anything that we were doing per se. We were kind of just doing what we were doing and advertising the way we were advertising, and then all of a sudden people just like woke up to the value of the maps, and our sales kind of took off after that.
Yeah, there's such a difference from mapping yourself, like, well, I like to fish this point, so I'm just going to map just this point. And it's like, it's handy, and I kind of know where I am now when I'm fishing on the point, but that's kind of all you use it for. And then you think, maps are kind of, they're okay. But when you actually have a whole lake completely mapped and you didn't realize that there's 3 other spots that are 2 minutes, like just a troll away from the point you normally fish all the time, and you had no idea, and you've been fishing that point for 5 years kind of thing. Like I think that's the the biggest thing for me. And someone who likes to explore, I don't like to fish around boats too much. So, hey, if I want to go check out new spots, I'd rather go and catch one fish or one quality fish on a point or a structure I didn't know about than sit with 10 other boats playing bumper boats on a plus 30 day kind of thing.
Right. On a community hole kind of thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, if I need to feel good about myself, I'll maybe go sit there and try and get some fish on there.
Get the confidence back up. Go grab a quick one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that's the biggest thing there, and I think lots of people would agree with that. I know it's definitely, as the Saskatchewan maps have built up more and more, I definitely hear about it from a lot of my buddies more and more that they're getting some of the maps. So that's good to see. But I guess we should get into some of the meat and potatoes. I don't know, do we want to start off, get right into the new lakes? I can bring up the map of the coverage list and get into that.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll just share my screen here for whoever's watching the video version. There we go. I don't know. Can you guys see that too?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Very, very clear, actually.
Sweet. Well, Craig, where do you want to start?
Well, let's, so we got a whole bunch of different chips for the different areas. We also have a complete catalog chip that contains everything that we've released so far in all the different areas combined. But in terms of Saskatchewan, so the list is getting pretty long. Obviously there's a ton of lakes, something like 100,000 lakes in Saskatchewan, and we get comments all the time. Some people kind of giving it to us for only having done as many as we have, but the reality is that this takes a lot of time, and the list is growing pretty rapidly. So things are good here. In terms of individual lakes, so the yellow lakes are all new for 2026. So there's Arm, or also called Crake Lake, Boundary Dam Reservoir, which is obviously the largemouth lake, Buffalo Pound, Fishing Lake, Jimmy, which is also called Pratt Lake, Jumping Lake, Little Shell Lake, Margot, Memorial, Murray, a little trout lake called Nestland, Pear, Shannon, and this is the Shannon Lake near Wakaw. We also mapped a Shannon Lake in the Narrow Hills. Tobin Lake, we've increased our coverage a lot. It currently extends from Twin Marine to Tobin Lake Resort, and we're actively surveying the rest of the lake. So
Nice.
Next year probably that'll all be done.
Wow.
And this next lake, this Usinesqua, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies for that. Wakaw Lake, Waskasiu Lake, which is obviously a big one up near PA, White Sand Lake, and then Whalen Bay, which is part of the White Swan Lakes, and that's kind of a lake trout destination. So yeah, those are the new ones for 2026. Plus there's a whole whack of other ones that have been there for a few years already.
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to since we were talking about the Saskatchewan ones, I was just looking up on your guys' Facebook there. I'll share this tab quick. Like right here, for example, is Rafferty, and talk about old river channels like crazy through there, and then Boundaries just to the south of it. That it's crazy. And the Rafferty, did you say Rafferty was new this year, or that was already available?
Rafferty was already available. Boundary Dam is new this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of shows what those kind of are looking like there, and that's a pretty southern lake, and it's cool to see that it has those river channels there. But I'll see if I can find more. But back to the coverage list there. What do you want to go over next?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess one thing that we should probably mention is that for people that have already purchased Saskatchewan chips or complete catalog chips, any map chip that we've made in the past, you have the option to upgrade your chip to the current coverage, and it's pretty reasonable, like the pricing. So basically, what we do is we just mail you out a new chip once we get confirmation that your current chip is destroyed, and after you place the order on the website. So it's pretty slick. There can be a 3 or 4 day lag between the time you make the order and when we actually get it shipped out to you via Canada Post. So just kind of make sure you're not needing the chip to go fishing the next day kind of thing. But other than that, it tends to work out pretty well. We have lots of uptake on our upgrade program in Manitoba, and obviously Saskatchewan is a more recent endeavor. But yeah, we've got, I don't know, quite a few people already this year that have upgraded. And yeah, Tobin is probably the biggest single lake reason why people are interested in the new content. And yeah, you can kind of see what I was talking about there previously about all the old river channels and like the cuts, that are probably related to things that happened hundreds or maybe even thousands of years ago. Like the river just run differently.
Yeah, you can see here even with some of that blue. I don't know, that's probably around 20 feet, and you have 8-9 feet right here, and then just a blue hole there. Like, yeah, when you talk about kind of channels for the fish to be running through, like a person who's just running the river channel here is going to think, oh yeah, I got to stick out here. It's all shallow in there, and then all of a sudden, oh, this is actually probably a pretty dangerous, or not dangerous boating wise, but really good place to be fishing.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people probably thought that was just all a big mud flat, with no contour, no real fishy structure to it. But then you see that and you think, oh man, I'd fish those. You're right.
Yeah. Like these are just some of the posts here. This is your Saskatchewan post there on your guys' Facebook. But like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. All the little intricacies so cool. There. And I don't know what else this is all Tobin, Last Mountain we're all familiar with. Yeah, the detail is crazy. And lots of these places, like say Foxes and Two Tree here, I had an idea in my head of how they were, but being able to visualize it like this helps me out. I don't know if other people are visual like that. It helps quite a bit in determining kind of where you want to fish and what that structure actually looks like if you're in your boat. I mean, it's a little bit different when you're ice fishing. You're not really you're stuck to that 10-inch hole unless you decide to move spots. But yeah, no, that's all pretty crazy. This Waskesiu one we talked about before recording too, pretty crazy here.
Yeah,
like
that one's got me excited.
That one would have been terrifying to be going all over the whole lake with it. Lots of red there, and some mixed in the middle too. I don't know if I've actually been to Waskesiu to visualize this above water, but definitely some sketchy spots there, hey?
Yeah, most of it isn't hittable structure. That where it says Sunken Island, there's a big one. I think that one may be just as hittable, but lots of surprises, I guess you would say. Like, we didn't think it was going to look like this. I don't even think the guy who surveyed it, who knew quite a bit about Waskesiu, thought it was going to look anything like this. Like, there's just way more irregular structure. than we thought, and try to why would it look like that? Like what happened to make the lake look like that? It's just an interesting geology up there.
Makes you
Yeah.
wonder.
It looks like a bomb went off in this area between Sunken Island and King Island, just shrapnel everywhere. But
Yeah.
it's when you said lots of surprising things too. There's nothing better than when you're cruising on plane and you're like, oh, it's 60 feet, and then you just start to watch that graph just shoot straight up. You're like, is this ever going to stop? Or how shallow is it going to get here? But yeah, those are just some of them. I think there's like 60 some pictures in that. So if people want to see that, they can head over to your guys' Facebook page there and check all those out. But just shows some of the definition of the maps there too. And you had mentioned, I guess these are all the BC maps are new this year. Hey, there's none available in 2025.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, none. I guess we had a couple that were on the Avenza Maps app. This is the first year we've released a map chip that's compatible with Lowrance sonars
Okay.
for British Columbia.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with those lakes. Like, what vague region are those all in? Are they southern BC or like what?
I guess I would call it the Kamloops region. Yeah, they're all in that general area. Mountain, very different habitat than anything we got in Manitoba or Saskatchewan. It's
Sure.
kind of neat to look at them. And if you have a complete catalog chip, even though you're probably maybe you will fish these ones, but you can take a look at them regardless. Even if you're just at home, you can just browse around and take a look. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that's I was just looking here at some of the northern Manitoba ones. Like, I've got one thing that might get, I don't know if what you see on your end, Craig, if it gets overlooked, but these print maps, I like to mention them anytime I talk about Angler's Edge at the start of the episodes. But like Clearwater Lake here, huge lake, could only imagine how long that took to do. And then you can get these print maps. So are all these available in print map form, or is it kind of lake by lake?
In terms of the yellow ones, the ones that we've just released on Lowrance compatible chips for this year, we've now generated all the print maps, I believe, maybe with one exception.
Okay.
But we haven't actually got around to putting them on our website. That should happen very soon, like within the next week or so.
Sweet. Yeah.
So
I'll be
for
getting the
example-
Buffalo Pound one for sure. That
Yeah,
one will be going up on the wall.
I can show you it real quick here if I can share my screen. I don't even know if that's possible.
I'll hit stop here and see if it works for you. This will be a first. I don't know if you
Okay.
have a share option on the bottom, but
Okay, 1 second here. I'll just pull it up first. Yeah, I do. Okay, so here we go. Share. And
yeah.
so there's Buffalo Pound.
Yeah, you can
And
see
that
that
one-
little bit I was talking about by the causeway as far as basically what was left for seeing any kind of river channel. It kind of comes around on the south side there between the causeways, and that's about it. And an old road. There's an old road. It's kind of hard to see right now, but an old road in the top left there too.
Right. Yeah.
Not nearly as exciting as Tobin.
Come on.
Diefenbaker.
Here, I'll pull up one more here. Just give me 1 second. Toba, I'll pull up Reed Lake. Just for a little contrast,
Now he's going to show a real cool one. Make Buffalo Pound look even worse.
I think Buffalo Pound is actually a really cool print map, but Reed Lake is just absolutely ridiculous with hittable structure.
Yeah, how many props did Reed Lake claim?
I don't know offhand.
Don't want to know.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even want to think about that sort of detail. I think it was close to 10,000 kilometers of survey on Reed Lake. I'd have to double check that. It's something like that, 9,000, 10,000.
That's got to be one of the most yet, other than like Lake Manitoba.
I think it's more than Lake Winnipeg
Yeah,
because
sorry, that's what I'm not Lake Manitoba, Lake Winnipeg.
yeah, like despite the size of Lake Winnipeg, like a lot
Yeah,
of it is pretty flat. So, Reed, there's not a lot of basin habitat. You end up doing, really tight survey grids everywhere.
yeah, that's insane.
It's interesting how deep it gets on that one wall there in the north side with how much I can't read the scale on the bottom there for what that purple is, but
Yes, 105 is the
okay.
purple.
And what's all in Reed Lake for species?
It's known for big pike and lake trout,
Okay,
and
there's
there's
like
walleye. I'm sure there's perch and tula bee and that sort of thing as well. But it's basically, I would say, pike, lake trout, and then to a lesser degree walleye that people are chasing
Okay.
there.
So it gives a guy a pretty good idea where you'd want to go for lake trout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of places you'd avoid.
Yeah, yeah, in the summer for sure, but in the winter, you'd be surprised at where the lake trout go.
Anywhere. Anywhere and everywhere.
Exactly.
Some great looking pike territory there too. Any of
Mhm.
that orange red stuff would be I'm sure you could spend a lot of time. It's obviously a pretty big lake as well, just based on you can see the road and stuff like that there. I do like the part that's cool with the Buffalo Pound one. Maybe it might not even be the lake itself, but all the crop land around that. Like I think that looks pretty
Yes.
cool from the satellite image there. The satellite image is so clear as well. Like that's a really good overlay for that.
Yeah, I love how Saskatchewan lakes that are surrounded by farmland look. Like the grids and the nice squares, like different color fields. To me that just I don't know, it's cool. I
Mhm.
really like how those print maps look.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's sweet. And that's kind of, I mean, that's a home run for anyone who has a cabin on any of these lakes, right? You can't go wrong with one of those somewhere in your cabin,
For sure.
like for whatever lake you're on that they're available for. Like I might get one for my house and one for the cabin as well to go out there because
Yeah.
they do look nice. Like I have one, I think it was, is it Pierce? Is that one of the Duck Mountain
Yep.
ones? I
Yeah.
have that one upstairs, and when it showed up, I put that on the wall in our new house. Like it's got to be like 2 years ago now, and I just found a nail up there and threw it up there, and my my fiance is like, "That's not staying up there," and it hasn't moved since. Like they're definitely. I mean, it's a smaller lake, a smaller print map, so it's not like it's in your face, right? But yeah, that one hasn't moved since it's been put up there. So I mean, fiancés are even okay with them being on the walls too. So that's a positive.
Yeah, totally. They make good conversation pieces too for offices. What we
I
found is that people like we've got them in insurance places and like a physiotherapy clinic. We have in this clinic I'm thinking of, there's one map in each sort of treatment room, and like the staff there always rave about it to us because it gives them something to talk about with their clients. Like it's just a very like attractive piece that your eye is drawn to, and it promotes questions, and then you just all of a sudden you're talking to these people, I guess. So
For sure.
Yeah.
I do like how you adjust the scale too for the depths of each lake. Like obviously if that didn't happen, Buffalo Pound would probably be red or orange for the whole thing. So I like that each lake has a scale based on itself as well. So you
right.
do get some kind of all the colors of the rainbow there instead of just one. Again,
Yeah.
going back to Buffalo Pound.
Right. Max depth of I think like 12, 13. Is
Yeah.
that what?
16, I thought.
Maybe
Six-
some 16, but for sure 15. Yeah. Yeah. And people can say whatever they want. Jesse, well, I don't even know if we've said what lake it was, but Jesse came down this winter and he has his PB from Buffalo Pound when we went pike fishing
Really?
for the March
Yeah.
Madness tournament. Yeah, 47, I think, right?
Yeah, or just a hair under, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Pretty
Yes.
epic. That
So
was
many-
that was not public information till now, Logan. So you did it.
That's okay. That's okay. It's the first one I've seen on a bump with the bump board picture and everything out of there. So I'm not going to say it's a a common thing. But I mean, any of the Diefenbaker into the Buffalo, into the Chain Lakes, into lots of these southern lakes are great. Last Mountain has great pike as well.
Yeah.
Lake of the Prairies, all those lakes, they've all got really great pike fishing. I think it's overlooked for the most part. I think some of the chains get hit pretty good, but otherwise, lots of people just want their perch and their walleye, and the pike might be a bycatch. But if you actually spend a day going for pike, you can have a pretty fun time in the Qu'Appelle system. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, where to next? What do we got here for? I see Alberta has one lake. It looks like on the Lawrence chip.
Yeah, there's Siebert Lake in Alberta. That's the only one we've completed so far. We've got two. Well, I should clarify. That was the only one we completed at the time we released our 2026 chips. I think we've already done two more this year. But anyway, like, we're not anticipating to sell a heck of a lot of Alberta chips at this point, but thought we'd get it out there because there is a few people that have asked us about Siebert Lake. So now if they want it and they run a Lawrence, they can get it for, I think it's $39 that we're asking for, which is, the chip almost costs us that much to produce.
Yeah.
Just thought we'd make it an option for those few folks that are interested in that lake, and then over the next few years, Alberta content should grow quite nicely.
Yeah, and for people that are looking at this, like, we've got, like, their eyes might not have caught it yet. Like, we've got Western, Northern, Eastern, North, or that's Ontario, but like, there's three of these here are Manitoba. So are you finding that you're kind of getting to the point in Manitoba that lots of the main, more popular ones, those lakes are kind of done? Are you not that you'll ever run out of lakes really for the longest time, but what are you finding with Manitoba?
Yeah, like, let me share my screen again here. You guys see that one again? Okay, so like in eastern Manitoba, there is a few lakes that we probably will do that haven't, that are fished heavily, and they're backcountry lakes at this point. So like lakes that people snowmobile into in the winter. For lake trout, for example, there's a few lakes in eastern Manitoba like that. This year we released a section of the Winnipeg River, which is called Eagle Nest Lake, and it's quite remote. Like, you launch at Pointe du Bois and then you drive up 40-50 kilometers kind of thing, through some of the sketchiest habitat river that I've ever seen. So like, this used to be a super, super intimidating place to go for people. Like, probably hundreds, thousands of lower ends props. I shouldn't say lower ends, but hundreds to thousands of props and skegs, and probably low hundreds of lower ends over the years, kind of thing, claimed by this section of river. So people were scared to go there. And it's some of the best sort of nature habitat that Manitoba has to offer, and the fishing's really good. So we did that. This took a long time because it was so remote, and because there's so much structure that's hittable. You have to really be careful as you're surveying it, obviously. So this took us several years to get this done. But yeah, like, there's this type of lake that can theoretically be released, and there's a bunch of lakes in Nopaming that we'll probably tackle over the next few years. Nopaming Provincial Park, that is. So yeah, that's eastern Manitoba. And then in northern Manitoba, there's a million lakes up there too. Realistically, the ones that are fly-in access, unless there's some sort of interest from a lodge and some sort of support from a lodge to help us, do that, we probably won't do those ones. But like Athapap, for example, I think we're about 10,000 kilometers of survey in on Athapap so far as well. and it's not done. We probably have 2 more years on Alphapat before we finish that off. And then there's the, the what are they called? The cranberries. We'll probably tackle the cranberries fairly soon, and Simon House. Maybe Cormorant Lake. We'll see on that one. But yeah, there's still a lot in northern Manitoba that theoretically we could do if people are interested in it. And yeah, we'll just kind of have to see how it goes.
Do you gauge a lot of the lakes you're gonna map, or in the future you're gonna map, by people reaching out to you and saying, hey, you guys should really hit this lake? Or is it more of, okay, I know there's road access here, I know there's a lot of development, I think it would sell? Or like, what's the biggest driving factor there for you to decide, hey, let's go ahead and map that?
To be honest, it's something totally different. It really is like, do we have a surveyor that's interested in doing it? A lot of what we've mapped, or at least a lot of what we mapped when we mapped it, was influenced by personal interests, right? Like,
Gotcha.
I fished on a lake in eastern Manitoba called Garner Lake when I was growing up. My grandfather had a cottage on Garner Lake, so we mapped that. That was one of the first lakes we mapped. We mapped that one before Lake Winnipeg, right? Like,
Yeah.
or the Red River, for example, which is, super, super popular. We had Garner Lake out several years before the Red River, just because that's what I was interested in.
Fair, yeah.
So that's kind of a big driver, actually. And in northern Manitoba, we've got some guys who are just like hardcore anglers, hardcore outdoorsmen, and they've been able to tackle these massive lakes that I didn't even think it was possible.
Right.
Like, but it's happened, and so now it sort of seems like anything's possible.
Yeah, that's fair. I looked up, just for anyone who's watching, I looked up this Eagle's Nest Lake. Like,
I
you
did the same thing on my phone after you mentioned it.
So this is where you launch, right? You said, Craig? Can you see that?
Yeah, you launch at Pointe du Bois. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, just I'm sure there's some runs that you can take that are okay, but like, just the island structure through here, and not getting lost either on the way through. Like, this just looks treacherous through.
Yeah, it sure
like
does.
You could just see all the rock structure there, and just to come all the way here. So like, this obviously wouldn't be much of a day trip. Like, would they come in and stay at, like, say, this lodge or something like that, or tent for a couple days?
Yeah, there's camp spots up there, but people do like day trip it. Like now, me and my friends are making day trips up there fairly regularly. If you know where you can go safely and you can do it on plane, right? It's even 50 kilometers is an hour, right?
True, that's true.
In the water, so yeah, it's a really cool area. I could pull up some images here too on my end if you.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing here.
If you want here, just to show you. So this is kind of the overview. And then here is just a few of the different areas.
And so what's in here? It's obviously like a system.
That looks scary,
Yeah. And it's not intuitive, right? Like you come out of the chute, and if you just go straight in a direction, you're going to hit something, right? You have to weave around all these rocks, and once you see it, you can do that pretty intuitively. But like for somebody,
is the water clear?
It's not that clear. I'd say maximum clarity. Sometimes you might get 5 feet.
Ooh,
But most of the time, I'd say it's 1 to 2 foot type clarity, kind of tannic water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So up here, walleye, smallmouth bass, northern pike are pretty much what people are after. There is good moon eye fishing as well, but there's also good moon eye fishing everywhere on the Winnipeg River. So
Wherever there's moon eye, there seems to be good moon eye fishing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
It's a pretty crazy section of river. Pine Island Lodge. This is a nice place to stay, especially if you're wanting to do kind of your own thing and you're not necessarily wanting to be guided. That's a good place to stay. Eagle's Nest Lodge is another great place to stay, and it's maybe a little bit of a different type of trip. If you're going up there, you're going to get guided and you're going to get treated really well. And yeah, it's just here's another section of like
so hard to compute in my brain, like on any water body I've been on. Like this is like even the northern Saskatchewan lakes I've been on. It's a lake. It's not, or I guess like say Otter Lake. It's part of the Churchill. But like to see this is just a minefield, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
That's crazy. You'd have to be the luckiest person. If you didn't know where you're going, the luckiest person ever to not hit something. I think it'd be impossible. I could definitely see what you meant by lower units and props.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fishy structure though too. As you're clicking through the photos, I'm like, ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, well, yeah, totally. And like something that I've noticed too is that there's this section of river basically from Lamprey Rapids to Pine Island, and it's probably 25 kilometers of river, and basically nobody fishes it, right? Like there's very, very few people that actually stop and fish it. And there's fish there. Like I have now fished it now that I've got the lay of the land. Like I've fished it and it's good, right? Like there's good walleye there, but it's just one of those things. Like people have historically, they're trying to get through it, right? They want to get through it safely, and that's the bottom line. They don't want to really mess around in there and like figure it out or anything. But they've sort of missed a lot of really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, isn't it crazy how just because a boat's somewhere, you think, oh, I'll fish that spot some other time maybe. But if you never see anyone there, you're like, you don't really think to fish it yourself lots of the time, like especially if it's a body of water you haven't been on too much or like anything like that. Like, and if it's somewhere, like you said, people are just trying to get through and they're happy once they're through it. They're probably not going to go around and mess around fishing in there either.
Right.
But yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. No, that is crazy. Like I know up at Otter Lake there on the Churchill, like, yeah, there's rocks and islands, and I was cruising in my boat this year, kind of mapping some areas that were a little bit that I hadn't really spent too much time in. And yeah, you get that, I think I'd mentioned it, that 60 feet, and all of a sudden this graph is going straight up and it's not stopping. All of a sudden we're at 8 or something like that. And I mean, it is scary like that, but that's somewhere where you get to know the main route and you're safe on the main route for the most part. Like you can be quite a few feet either way and be okay. But that there, I know it's out. I'm sure it's a bigger area, but that there looked like you can't just go straight for very long without running into something.
No.
You gotta drive like you're drunk on the lake, just going over.
Yeah, totally.
That might be your best bet to not run into any rocks.
Yeah. My friend and I did like a little fun thing the other day there. We took our old routes and we plotted them on the map. Like, admittedly, some of these routes were saved at high water, like really high water. Mm-hmm. So like if we had done those routes at low water, basically we counted, I think it was 6 or 7 times that we would have destroyed lower ends because we were just in the wrong spot. And this is many years ago. Like the routes were saved from 2014 and 2015. So like we had gone up there and we got really lucky with high water basically, and we're able to do it. But like, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, that's the thing
That's
with
pretty
those
neat.
kind of lakes. Any northern lake, high water is just as dangerous as low water because something that was a foot out of the water normally, well, now maybe it's a foot below the water with the high water, and then you get into the low water and something that you were safe to go over before, now you don't know that
Hmm.
actually it's bad. So, I mean, I would say I guess low water is definitely more dangerous because it's stuff you haven't seen before. But if someone's new to an area with high water, they might think they're fine, and someone who's been there a
Yeah.
couple of years knows, there's rocks right under
There
there.
used to be a reef over here.
It didn't move.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would like some of the structure, Craig, up at Lac Lamart and some of the runs that
Yeah.
these guys have through some islands and stuff we talked about on the
Yeah.
last episode. But yeah, it's some of the rock structure there and some of the skinny stuff. The water's clear enough there that you can run on your phone. You can go onto your satellite imaging and use that to avoid shoals and whatnot. For the most part, it keeps up good enough, and you need it in some of the areas, or you rely on the watercolor with that too. Jesse,
I was gonna say you
know more
definitely
of
need
that.
your phone on like the smoky days or dead calm days when you have no ripple to see color.
Oh
But
yeah.
like but like we say it all the time. If this lake was dirty or muddy or full of tannins, whatever, tannic water, it would be absolutely terrifying. We wouldn't fish half the lake, I don't think, because we'd be so scared to go into these new places. But so thankfully, it's crystal clear water, and you can just drive by sight and just visually pick it out and learn what colors you can drive over and which ones you shouldn't.
Mhm. The worst is though when you're in areas like, for example, there's an area. What's just north of Cloudberry? What's that area?
Like 9 Mile?
Like no, like there's the Cloudberry Islands, then that
Oh,
bay.
going a stick and beaver.
Yes. So yeah,
Right?
even the ones just west of Stick, like,
Yeah.
but
John
in
Boy
there,
Bay.
that yeah, that
Terrifying.
area there
Terrifying.
is terrifying, and you can't see lots of the time with some ripple there, and then
Yeah.
the satellite imaging still has
Is
ice
ice,
on the image
yeah.
there. So trying to go through those areas
Yeah.
is terrifying. I
It
had
sucks.
on my very last day, the last time I was up there, I had clients that, oh, John Boyd told him he saw a huge pike in this area, and we were already supposed to be back like at that time, and we spent another half an hour in there, and I couldn't see anything. It was glare. There was not a ripple on the water, and they wanted so bad to go into these bays, and I'm like, I've been up here for, this is my third stint, and I've like never really gone in there. I hadn't fished it, and I'm like, so I'm just like, I wasn't on plane for sure. I was maybe going like 15 kilometers an hour, almost kind of plowing water, so probably putting my engine in farther, but
Yeah.
just like looking around and just like this feeling in my stomach like, oh, please don't let there be anything here. But
Yeah.
got
Do you
lucky.
have-
No big fish, but no rocks either. So
Do you have your live scope like pointed ahead as you're going so you can kind of like see the rock before it's coming?
no,
That-
that was before Zach had no. That was Zach's first year with the Humminbird live up there. Otherwise, no one else had it.
Really?
Now more of the guides have it up there.
I think there's
but-
like 5 of us, or maybe even 6 with live scope now in the boats. 5 for sure.
Yeah, so
Cool.
didn't
you ever
have
see-
that.
Did you ever see Aaron Weeb's video when he like took the first live scope, the LVS 32, and he had it mounted on the transom, and he was driving around at like on plane speed,
Yeah,
like just ripping around, like, and you see like boulders coming at you at like light speed.
quicker than you can do anything about it. I tried
exactly.
looking that up because I had a 32 and I was like, I'd love to put this on my transom, and it was not for going that fast, but it was more for I'd like to put it on my transom, and then I could kind of just be pointing around because lots of lakes, like I'd go up to say Amisk Lake up by Flin Flon, and I didn't know much of it. I ended up just putting my 34 250 feet ahead, and I was in 80 feet of water, and I just scanned until I found a hump, and then I go fish that hump in 25 30 feet and then move on to the next one. But I tried to do that, and there's like zero information about mounting live scope on your transom that I could find online. Like there, I remember Aaron's video with that. That's why I thought, oh, that would be kind of sweet to do that. But as far as trying, there is like they do provide a transom mount, but other than that, there's nothing about like the best way to mount it, anything like that. Like there's like nothing online, especially YouTube, for transom mounted live scopes
Right.
that I
And
could find.
now that they've changed the design, Aaron and I were talking about this the other day, but now that they've changed the design to, the LVS 34, the angles are different, right? On the 32, it was like tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
And now it's like tick, flat, tick. You know what I mean? So you can't really get it set up to work on plane.
Right.
You can use it if you're just going slow, and you'll be able to scan in forward. But as soon as you try to go fast, like the turbulence of your water get all fucked up, and it doesn't really
Right.
work
Yeah.
the same way. So
Yeah.
hold on to the LVS 32 if you have it.
I got it on my trolling motor right now. It's just kind of up there chilling when I'm if I'm spot locked or something, casting at something on the 34. Sometimes look over and like, oh, there's something out front there and whatever. But other than that, I should just put it on another pole. But it hurts so bad to be buying another pole for if there's someone else in the boat kind of thing. But yeah, I'll have to consider that because I was watching. I'd seen his video. I think there's one Japanese guy that fishes bass over there that had it like that too, and otherwise there wasn't much on it. And maybe that's for a good reason. I don't know if Aaron still has that mounted like that on any of his boats, but yeah, it's definitely a cool concept, but it would be terrifying as well. Like you imagine seeing that coming and you're like, I can't slow down in time and just watching it happen, and it'd be terrible. But yeah, no, that's all good there. And I guess moving on to, we haven't talked about the phone version too much as you had some stuff going there with the Avenza maps. Do you have any update on that at all? I'm sure you get quite a few questions about that, but
Yeah, unfortunately, no updates, no positive updates on the Avenza situation. So, just for anyone that doesn't know, in April we got notified that Avenza got bought out by another company, and then we got notified that they were going to not accept new content from any of their mapping partners. And I kind of interpreted that as like, well, this will be a short-term thing, and then eventually it would eventually we'd be able to do it again and release new maps on the Avenza platform. But that hasn't changed. Like, we haven't got any sort of positive signs that is actually going to change. So I'm starting now to wonder if it's ever going to happen again. So not ideal. A lot of people really liked that Avenza option. I actually really liked it. I thought our maps displayed really, really well, and the ability to get a lake, buy one lake when you need it, kind of thing. Maybe you forgot your Lowrance and you can just download it on the spot and get you through a day. Or if you're running a different brand. Anyway, lots of our maps are still available on Avenza. Everything that was on there prior to April is still on there, and you can still get it. But, like, for example, Eagle Nest Lake and the new Tobin stuff is not on there. Waskasoo's on there. But the most recent, and Reed, I guess, the new version of Reed Lake is not available on Avenza. So not ideal. We are looking into other partnerships with other companies that maybe will allow us to get our maps out there in a mobile sort of friendly format. But these things take a lot of time, and as of right now, we don't have another option.
right. Well, and the nice thing is for people who had purchased them, you can still use them. And if someone's still looking for, say, a Last Mountain or whatever, there's still tons of maps on there, right? Which is the nice thing, I guess, going forward. Like, I know I don't have any kind of screen hooked up to, say, my snowmobile for in the winter. So easy just to pull out the phone, right, and use it that way. And I think I'd heard about some guys just using, if they say they're running Humminbird, they just had an iPad on their boat that had the map, right? So it's definitely nice to have that option. But I mean, I added a Lowrance to my boat this year just to run the maps. I mean, I put the transducer out the back, but I ran it just for maps, and it's actually crazy what you can get into for a Lowrance for a lot cheaper than the Humminbird side too. Like what you get as far as a touchscreen and all that stuff. Like it doesn't hurt the bank nearly as bad as the equivalent on a Humminbird side. And Garmin's kind of the same too, I find, as Lowrance for what you can get into. But I think I got did I get a 10 or a 10 or a 9? I can't remember what size I got, but strictly for maps basically. And I really, really enjoyed it so far. It's nice cruising around kind of carefree because you're in the clear.
Yeah. I think that, like, for using maps on a boat, I do think that a dedicated sonar screen is better than, say, an iPad, just because of the sunlight readability that you get with a sonar. It's so much easier to see, and then you don't have to worry about rain or water splash and that sort of thing like you would on an iPad.
Yeah,
sure.
But to each their own. Obviously, people fish a little bit differently. And the Avenza option is good. It's very good. It's a shame that the new maps aren't available.
That's too bad. It seems like a missed opportunity for them. I don't know why they wouldn't want that, but yeah, that's not me. So
I don't know what else I would use the app for. So I'm like, that's the main use in my mind.
Yeah, like obviously they have many maps. We're kind of a niche partner. Most of their maps are, for non-fishermen, people that are looking for street maps or hiking trails or that sort of thing. So like they have over 1 million maps hosted on Avenza. Wow. So like this is a decision that isn't really related to Angler's Edge. It's a decision that's related to a much broader business. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but I do sort of sympathize with their situation.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and wherever it ends up after that too, they'll be lucky to have it there, and I mean it'll be good to go. But I think easiest fix right now is just get a Lowrance, toss it on your boat, toss it on your sled.
Pretty much.
Even like you can run the maps perfectly fine on a 7-inch screen. I don't even know does Lowrance make a 5? I haven't seen anything on a.
Yeah, they make a 5-inch Eagle. Eagle is the current model. It's sort of, I guess before that it was the Hook series, the Hook Reveal. Now it's called the Eagle. I have a 5-inch Hook Reveal that I use on a kayak and on a small tinner, and yeah, it does a decent job. I would say, like, as I get a little bit older, like I'm 43 now, it's harder to see a 5-inch screen. Like when I was young, 5-inch was tons, but now that I'm older, it is harder to see. I'd say a 7-inch is kind of, the sweet spot in terms of value and like, what you get and readability of the screen itself. I think 7 is, probably where I'd advise most people that are my age anyway. But like you said, you had a 9-inch, that's the bomb. Like once you get into a 9-inch screen, everything's so clear and the detail is awesome.
Yeah, it was I think I got the HDS 9 or 10. It was a refurbished unit from I think Radio World or something, and it was like half price, so it never used. Basically, it gets sent back to Lowrance. They check it all, make sure it's all still good, repackage it, and it was 50% off. And I'm like, well, can't really go wrong with that. Yeah. It's brand new, so it's just been sitting for a bit. It's not like it has a battery or anything in it that's going to have gone bad in the last couple of years. And I mean, I still have a Helix. The boat came with a Helix 12 G2N, which can't even run any of the other newer maps if a guy wanted to. So I'm like, it's not like I'm worried about being too outdated if that's going to be the issue. But no, it's been awesome. And I mean, I did put the transducer on the back of the boat still, and like the side imaging is great, the 2D is great. All of it's been very happy with it. So I'd recommend it for anyone who's on the fence about it. Even if you do want to go with the 7, like Craig was saying, that still works great, and you know where you are on the lake once you got the maps in there, right? So that's kind of the whole purpose of it all. So would suggest, but yeah, we might even be an hour in here. I'm not sure. We talked a little bit before we got into things here, but either one of you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
I had one question. Do you ever get any negative feedback from people, like when they find out that you guys are mapping, let's say, just say their home lake, and do you ever get guys who are like, "Oh, why you here doing this? Now everyone's gonna know my fishing spots," or anything along those lines? Or is it all pretty much happy fishermen who are just pumped to not have to waste much time and fish new lakes and new areas that they've never had access to, kind of thing?
There's never been a grumpy fisherman ever.
No.
Yeah, I'd say it's 95% positive feedback and then 5% negative feedback. And some of the negative feedback is, like you say, somebody who doesn't want their lake mapped because they think it's going to increase the the amount of anglers that fish that lake, or like give up their spots. Honestly, the more of the negative feedback comes from anglers that are like, well, why didn't you map this lake? Like, when is this lake coming? Like, you've got like, and honestly, the first one, I get why people would, kind of feel that way. I honestly don't think at this stage that us mapping a given lake is going to change the amount of pressure on that lake, because we've mapped so many. There maybe was a time early on where it would have influenced the pressure, but now I don't think it does. I get a little bit more frustrated when people kind of like give us shit for, like, well, why haven't you done Candle Lake? Or, people don't understand how much time it takes. Like, we're talking
100%.
Our complete catalog, like everything in our map, in our sort of that we've released so far, is based on 189,000 kilometers of survey on the water.
That's
right? So, like,
insane.
just think about what that means. Like, if you're doing 15 kilometers an hour, which is probably higher on average than we would survey, like, how many hours is that? It's thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. How much gas is that? Like, it takes time, it takes money, and we're doing our best. This is, I don't know. This is kind of a pet peeve of mine, is when people sort of take shots at us for, well, why haven't you done this? Like,
fair.
We're doing our best.
We can only be at one spot at one time, and that one spot might take 3 summers to do.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think people don't realize, because they, like I said earlier on, you might be mapping a point or whatever, but like, just imagine how slow you'd have to go. Like, all those islands that you were showing there on the Eagle's Nest, like, imagine how slow going all of that would be. Like, I could only imagine the time spent doing that. And it's not like you're just trying to quickly map it so you can fish it. You're trying to have it accurate as well, right? So
totally.
Yeah, it's not just a quick flyby or anything. Like, you've got to spend the time going in and out all those. Like, I could only imagine how much, like, that. Whoever did that has to have the biggest left arm ever. steering that tiller around, like, just the amount of steering you'd be doing there. It's not just going straight and chilling for, like, I imagine, like, say you're doing like Diefenbaker or something like that. There'd be lots of just flying in a straight line for a long time on Diefenbaker, right?
Yeah.
Until a random sandbar comes out 200 yards offshore. But like,
well, yeah, you say that, like, Dief has already claimed one, motor that snapped mid-unit, because we thought we're in the clear, and like, some structures, I think it was a sandbar, kind of like a gravelly, rocky shoal, that came out in an unexpected location, and just, that was the end of that motor when you're doing, 35 kilometers an hour. I think he was just heading home. He wasn't even actually surveying.
Dang.
So, anyway.
Yeah, that's unlucky. Yeah, no, that'd be, that's always, I mean, think of it, even if you're just looking at the price of a map or individual, like, whatever, just think of it as an insurance policy that
Yeah.
you're safe driving around where you are driving, right? Like that would be, other than trying to find spots to fish, that'd be my number 2 reason, knowing guys have safe passage through lots of these lakes. I mean, someone who fishes, say, Last Mountain all the time, and that's the only lake they fish, to be like, oh, you don't have to worry about hitting anything really, right? And that is true for the most part for Last Mountain. Maybe Pelican Point, if you want to cut that, or maybe some other points and whatnot, or if you get really far up north, yeah, you might find some stuff there. But for the majority of that lake, you can drive around carefree pretty well wherever you want, and you're going to be fine. But yeah, it's once you get to some of those other lakes, it's like that's worth the money in itself, just to save your prop. Even props on some of these big boats are what, $1,000, something like that. Like it's pretty hefty price to pay.
A stainless prop is, $1,000 minimum.
Yeah. So, and that's, that alone right there makes it worthwhile.
Yeah,
but,
like you say, good insurance policy. A $60 map.
Yeah, and I don't know if I got anything else on my end. Did you have anything you want to touch on before you wrap things up here, Craig?
No, I got that bump board from you. Haven't really got anything worthy of
bumping?
a photo yet, but yeah, those are sweet boards. That's a really nice setup you got there. So thank you for that.
Yeah. No, thanks for getting one. And I know Jesse can attest it. He drove over his and it survived for the most part. So there, it probably helped if there's snow in between the ice and getting pushed on there. But yeah, no, they're great for that. And they've made a couple other appearances and some other videos and stuff too. And those boards, you can put them through the ringer. They can get so dirty, whatever. And they work great.
They're
so
well made.
no, you have to be putting some Master Angler Smallies on there or something soon.
Yeah, well, we're going tomorrow, and there's a good chance we're going to get some. So yeah, we'll try to get some photos this time.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Well, we appreciate you taking time in your evening. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I guess this is something we may as well keep doing it yearly, because there's updates, and if these Saskatchewan maps keep growing like that, I mean, it's all pretty interesting stuff to go over there. And for as far as the socials and website and everything like that, where can everyone find you if they want to purchase some maps, get a print, anything like that?
Our website is www.anglersedgemapping.com. If you search for Angler's Edge on the internet, you'll find it. Google it or whatever. Facebook, we're pretty active. Instagram, we're a little bit active. Yeah, that's really it for us. We're not too big on the socials, to be honest. Too busy on the water. So
yeah, no, that's not a bad thing. The Facebook is a good follow if you want to see some snippets of some lakes that you should be purchasing, updates about other lakes and whatnot like that too, and try to refrain from commenting, "When's my lake coming?"
So, I don't mind when people ask, or they suggest we do this lake and that. Like, that's great. Like, we do listen to that feedback. Just when they get negative about it, like, oh, you did this lake and not that lake.
Yeah. Come on, this one's right beside it. It's way more popular. You fool.
Yeah. You fool. Yes.
Yeah.
We're trying, but it's going well. We're quite happy with the progress in Saskatchewan. We've got a great team chipping away at it. So yeah, things are happening.
Well, we look forward to seeing what's coming down the pipe here. Some more updates as the year goes on, and seeing what gets released, I guess, next spring. So like I said, we appreciate you taking the time for coming on tonight, and good luck with those smallies.
Thank you.
Episode 122 is complete, other than the outro here, of course. Big thanks to Craig for coming on, like we said there at the end. Always appreciate people who take time out of their evening. I think he said he was at the cabin, was going to get out fishing tomorrow for some smallmouth, hopefully put some master anglers on the bump board there. He has one of the Weekend Warriors bump boards, and it's funny he mentioned that the bump board in there, because I got a message. We have a couple sitting around here still, and I got a message literally 5 minutes after we finished recording tonight that someone said, "Hey, I saw this bump board on my buddy's boat. Do you have any more left?" And I was like,
nice.
What are the odds of that? So
sweet.
Luckily I do. Things were getting tight there for a bit, but had some people that that ended up being okay. So we had a couple left over. So no
Right on.
complaints there. But yeah, like I said, big thanks to Craig for coming on. It's the amount of kilometers and whatnot that he said that has gone on with surveying individual lakes and just in general. I think what did you say, 185,000 kilometers total?
Yeah, it was 186 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just incomprehensible, right? Like I get he's got multiple people out there putting in the hours, but that's a totally different beast. Like I am complaining about my big journey from Wati that took 5.5 hours at 5.3 miles an hour. Well, these guys are out mapping, probably not doing a lot faster than that in some of those lakes, especially the reefy ones, and just doing circles around. Like props to them. So like, yeah, thanks Craig to jump on the podcast and be in the face, but also thank you to all the surveyors that you guys have and doing a good quality, high quality, what's the word I'm looking for?
Work?
The standard? Yeah, like just the standard of quality is awesome. And thank you to the surveyors for putting in the time. Because
yeah, for sure.
Makes it easy for the weekend warriors like ourselves, I'd say, but for Logan.
For me.
And for the guys that want to go catch a fish and not have the time to do the mapping, man, what a time saver. So
yeah, like you can imagine when you're doing the mapping yourself, right? There's times where you're able to map at 30 kilometers an hour while you're on plane, and there's other times like you can't really map an island at 30 kilometers an hour, right? So and you think about how detailed those maps are when they're in 3 feet of water while you're not going 30 kilometers an hour in 3 feet of water. And there is 3 feet of water around the entire lake. So you have to go that speed around the entire lake, right? Like just things like that. Yeah. Just so much time that goes into it. So yeah, like Jesse said, big thanks to Craig, everyone over at Angler's Edge Mapping for doing what they do, making these maps available to all of us to use, because there really isn't anything like it. I mean, there is some other map choices out there, but that's all newer too. So, and the high definition of the Angler's Edge ones are just second to none there. So yeah, so that stuff's all awesome. I don't really know if I have much else here. It was a pretty good length episode. We kind of chatted about some of the fishing and whatnot that you've been doing. I haven't got to go out fishing much. I've been busy with some other real life stuff, some buddies' weddings, bachelor trips. It's been stupid hot. I'm not much of wanting to sit in the boat when it feels like 38 degrees.
Oof, yeah, that's a little too warm. That's pushing it.
Yeah, I did find out that I can jump out of my boat and get back in. I don't have a ladder or anything, and I've got the wave whackers on the back, and it sits pretty high. And when we were up north on the last trip there, I jumped in. I was like, I should see if I can get back into the boat. Sure enough.
Then you managed it.
Yeah, with ease. I'm basically Zach Brown without the body strength.
That's right. It would have been like a walrus climbing on an iceberg.
Yeah, I was able to use my rolls to hold myself as I caught my breath. Yeah, no, it all worked out well there. I was thinking about like if I always just had a rope that dangled over the side so I could pull with that, but you really don't need it. Like the boat sits up pretty good, but yeah, I can get in easy enough. So yeah.
So if you would eject yourself out of the boat, you now know that you can safely return.
Should be able to, yeah.
Yeah.
Kill cord, very important.
Yeah.
Life jacket helps. I do wear my kill cord a lot more. Like I just think about like when I had a console boat, no kill cord, ever, I don't think, which it was just kind of tucked away, and that's how it was when I got it. And right, like how many people are driving their pontoon with a kill cord or whatever, ski boat, surf boat, none of that, right? But definitely with the tiller, it's just easier. It goes right around the wrist, good to go, right? So without that, no, I don't think I'm getting back in the boat.
No,
yes.
Yeah.
Those videos you see where the boat's going around in circles, or just watch it drive away, like, oh,
scary stuff. But yeah,
not ideal there. But hey, I'm not going to complain about the nice weather. But if you want to give me like a plus 25 day, 20 to 25 day scattered clouds with some sunshine, I'm more than happy with that. So I'll be looking forward to those days. I think we've got a couple of weeks of hot weather coming.
Man, before we know it, we're gonna be doing an ice fishing trip again here. Like it's gonna be flyby here.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining there, but oh well. If you are looking for ice fishing stuff already, close things out here. 13 Fishing Canada. You can head over to the website, Rapala Canada website. Use the code Weekend Warriors. Save yourself 15% off the entire website. Head over to the Rapala accounts on Facebook and Instagram. Check out all the new stuff from iCast. Lots of exciting things coming down the line. Like I mentioned off the top, I'm looking forward to the new jigging wrap, and they've also got little crushers, I believe, in the Crush City stuff. So just smaller versions of some of those could be handy for some other species and whatnot there. And yeah, lots of good stuff coming down the line. We appreciate you tuning in to today's episode. As always, leave a comment, leave a like, follow, all that good stuff helps out the show. Until then, we'll see you in episode 123 in the next one.